Every single business runs on processes, but in the race to get things done, it's so tempting to take a shortcut, right? But what happens when that quick win ends up creating a slow motion disaster? Today, we're going to dive into the battle between a fast fix and a smart solution, using a real world crisis in accounts payable to see which one really pays off in the long run. So let's start with a big question, and I want you to keep this in the back of your mind as we go. What is the true cost of a quick fix? Sure, it might solve today's headache, but what kind of dominoes is it setting up to fall tomorrow?
All right, so let's set the scene. Our story begins, like so many do in the business world, with a fire that needs to be put out. A process that should be totally routine has suddenly exploded into a full-blown crisis.
Let's meet Mark. He's based in London, and he's having a really bad day. He's just gotten one of those emails. You know the kind. A key vendor, someone absolutely critical to his operations, is threatening to stop all services. Why? They claim their invoices are way overdue. This isn't just an inconvenience. This could bring everything to a grinding halt. So what does he do? He panics, right? He fires off this super urgent email. That request for an immediate, no questions asked payment flies all the way across the globe and lands right on the desk of James, who's part of the accounts payable team in Bangalore. Suddenly, Mark's problem is James's problem. Now, James is at a crossroads here. He's got two paths he can take. First, let's explore path one, the quick fix. The name of the game here is just speed. But as you're about to see, this is a lot like trying to put out a fire with a bucket of gasoline. So James does his job. He pulls up the vendor's account in the system, and what he finds is, well, it's kind of weird. According to all the official data, the company's records, none of these invoices are actually overdue. The system says everything's totally fine. James calmly reports this back to Mark, who is, let's just say, not happy. The response he gets back is immediate and frustrated. I don't care what the system says. Just change the due dates manually and pay it. Avoid an escalation. You can feel the pressure there. Mark doesn't want an explanation, he just wants the problem to vanish. So what Mark is really asking for here is what we call a manual exception. This isn't part of the normal everyday workflow. It's a one-off move that's designed to completely bypass the standard process, all to deal with one immediate specific demand. And, nobody wants their boss's boss copied on an angry email chain, right? Fearing that dreaded escalation, James gives in. He goes into the system, manually overrides the payment due dates, and pushes the payment through. And just like that, poof, the vendor is paid, Mark is happy, and the immediate fire seems to be out. But here's the thing about quick fixes. They're rarely a one-and-done deal. A week later, another urgent request pings in from Mark for a different vendor, then another. This one-time fix is quickly morphing into a brand new, unofficial process. To try and keep up, James even creates a special exception list just to track all these cases. And this is where you can literally see the hidden cost. This chart shows it perfectly. As the team's time spent dealing with these manual exception requests skyrockets, their overall productivity just plummets. They're spending all their energy just trying to keep their heads above water, and their actual core work isn't getting done. And this just kicks off a totally disastrous cycle. That little exception list, it's growing every single day. Email traffic explodes with people asking for updates and clarifications. The entire accounts payable team is now trapped in this constant, stressful cycle of just fighting fires. Okay, let's hit the rewind button. What if there was a better way? Let's explore path two, the root cause. This is the path you take when you stop asking, how fast can I fix this? And you start asking, wait a minute, why is this broken in the first place?
All right, we're back to square one. The same urgent, frustrated email from Mark lands in James's inbox, but this time is different. This James takes a deep breath. Instead of just reacting to the pressure, he decides to do a little investigating.
The tool he uses is this brilliantly simple, but man, is it a powerful technique. It's called the 5 whys. The whole idea is that you just keep asking why over and over again. It forces you to drill down past all the surface level symptoms to uncover the real cause and effect relationship at the heart of the problem. So let's actually walk through how this works. Number 1, why is this payment so critical? Because the service will stop. Okay. 2, why does Mark believe it's late? He thinks the payment terms are 30 days. 3, why does our system disagree? Well, it's calculating the due date based on the payment terms it has on file. 4, why is there a mismatch? Aha! Mark is saying the terms are net 30, due in 30 days, but the system is programmed with net 60, a 60-day term. And the final, most important question, number 5, why are the system's terms wrong? Because the vendor master data is incorrect.
And boom! There it is, the real culprit. The problem was never the payment process. James and his team were doing everything right. The problem was bad data. The vendor master data, that's the central file with all the key info about a supplier. It was just plain wrong from the very beginning.
And with that discovery, the solution suddenly becomes incredibly simple. James calmly explains the real issue to Mark. Instead of a messy manual override, he advises Mark to raise a formal request with the vendor master data team. Their job? To permanently correct the payment terms in the system from net 60 to net 30. A single permanent fix at the source of the problem.
Okay, so now we've seen both paths play out, the quick fix and the root cause. So let's put them side by side and look at the tale of two very different offices and compare the long-term outcomes of these choices.
And wow, the difference is just night and day. On the quick fix path, the exception list just keeps growing, email traffic explodes, and the team is permanently stuck firefighting. The whole process just breaks down under the strain. But on the root cause path, there is no exception list. Future emails on this issue are actually reduced. The team can finally focus on their actual deliverables, and the automated process is now stronger and more reliable than ever. So, what are the results when you fix the problem at the source? Well, they're not just clear, they're sustainable. The automated system can finally do its job the way it was designed to. No more manual workarounds are needed for this vendor, ever again. And James and his team, they can finally focus on their core work and peace. When you think about it, by fixing one tiny piece of data, they completely unclogged the entire process. A system that was designed for full automation was finally set free from the bottleneck that was created by bad information and constant human intervention. And it all boils down to this, really. A simple but powerful mantra for any business process. Standardize, automate, and always, always solve at the root. So, I'll leave you with this. Take a look at your own daily work, your own processes. Which of your quick fixes, the little workarounds you do to get through the day, which of them might be just like Mark's request, a symptom that's hiding a much deeper systemic problem just waiting to be solved the right way?